show you why, because I'm going to show you exactly what the learning process is when you basically pay attention. I'm going to hold on a second. I'm going, okay, so here we go. So this is the reason why a child needs to learn that skill of paying attention, because when we mentally attend to whatever we're learning, whether it's a physical or a mental task, the brain maps that information of what we're focusing on. When we don't pay completely attention to what we're doing at the present moment, our brain activates a host of other synaptic networks that can distract it from the original intention. So without that focus, concentration, brain connections are not made and memory isn't stored. So through paying attention or through focused attention, we create longer lasting memories, and in do so, we make learning more effective. Now, every memory has an emotion attached to it. So that's why a lot of people can remember where they were during certain times of their life, whether it's a 9/11 event, or whether it was maybe perhaps a wedding or a car accident or what have you. Every memory has an emotion attached to it. The stronger that emotion is, the stronger the connection is. So what you're seeing here with my kids is you're seeing that emotionally charged environment where the child is starving for mom and dad's attention, for mom and dad's approval, for mom and dad's praise. And that's what really kind of conditions the child. Now, you can see a couple of other videos I'll show you. This is my son, his first time to ever interact with a size 3 ball. I was doing a camp for older children here in Japan, and he's not in the camp. He's just my son, and he's just hanging out. But he got out of the car and he saw this ball and he ran up to the ball. Now, again, remember, this is not going to happen if a parent's not watching. The kid's just not going to play with it like this. And you got to realize too that in football, the entry level for football is usually kicking. It's not this close in ball control, ball mastery, experimenting with the ball, right foot, left foot, stepping around, pulling it back. Usually kids in this open space are just going to run around chaotically kicking the ball. But now here, fast forward, there's one of my boys just messing around with the ball even recently inside the house. And what I found is with the great players in the world, most of these players, they didn't fall in love with football. They didn't fall in love with playing football at first. They fell in love with the ball. That's a very important kind of concept to remember. When a player falls in love with the ball from a very, very young age, that's when it transfers into falling in love with playing the game. And I can't help from think that we try to force kids to fall in love with playing football when the ball still gets in the way. So that's just a little bit of the kind of science behind it, of what we're doing. And then I'm trying to search for some other here too. This is kind of important to understand, is at the bottom of the pyramid, this is what I call the entry level, 2 to 6. Usually it's pretty much the global standard that age 6, first grade, is when you cross over that line into organized play. So anything before that is the entry level. That's pre-teen. So that's where football starts at home and there's, to be honest with you, there's very little competition in this space. There's not a lot of groups that understand this space. So the next level is the competitive level. That's when a child crosses over the line into organized play, 6 years old, first grade, they join a team. And now they've got training sessions a couple times a week. Now they've got a coach. Now they have teammates. Now they have winning and losing. Now they have competition. So that's a team environment. Then you have the elite level. So there's 3 phases of development, right? The entry level, the team, the competitive level, and the elite level. For me now, having worked in every single one of these levels, worked in elite level, worked in competitive level, for me, and this is just my personal opinion, the most important phase of development for me for children is by far the entry level. Because what happens is that when a child crosses over that line into organized play, like watch this right here while I'm talking. This is one of my boys at age 6. So this video was taken right when he graduated kindergarten. He finished kindergarten. He's getting ready to go into first grade. So before he ever shows up to his first practice, this is his technical ability. This is his technical competence. This is the confidence that he has. And what happens is when children, boys or girls, regardless, when you have this level of comfort with a ball at your feet by this age, there's a bias that manifests in a very positive way. These children usually become the most popular kids on the team. And I don't think it's a coincidence that both of my boys, separate teams, both became captains of their team. They become the leaders because when a coach wants a child or a player to demonstrate, excuse me, they usually gravitate and they usually ask the better kids to demonstrate. So now a 6 year old or a 7 year old is getting the opportunity of leadership, of leading a group of other 6 or 7 year olds, of maybe 20 or 30 of them. And that can become a personality trait. Okay. And so this is how we can use football in a very positive way to basically create great human beings. Now, also, here's some other kind of really kind of good, juicy stuff. This is also the gift to the parents and coaches. The part of the brain that's responsible for ball mastery is the cerebellum.
Mhm.
Well, the cerebellum was thought to be mainly responsible for coordination, motor functions, balance, rhythm. But now the new neuroscience shows that the cerebellum is responsible for much more. It's responsible for thinking, remembering, which is memory, decision making, reading, controlling emotions, and also single digit mathematics. Okay. So ball mastery literally is helping to train the cerebellum. The cerebellum is the seat of the unconscious mind, the brain. So, regardless of whether it's a mental task or it's a physical task, it all gets stored in the cerebellum. It gets hardwired, and it gets hardwired through repetition. The more that you practice, the more it gets hardwired, and the memory is longer in the emotion. So, we work with a bunch of universities that are conducting research around our program. Probably the most robust program is with the University of Houston. Okay. And I'm going to move to that slide right here. I've got lots of stuff going on here. So we have literally an entire research laboratory at the University of Houston. You walk up to that door, and on the outside, it's going to say Houston Dynamo Dash Soccer Starts at Home Lab. And we've got a team of PhDs and 12 undergraduate students. That's all they do. And what they're looking for, what they're searching for, because we already have evidence-based kind of research and proof of concepts, not so much the soccer side, but the emotional, the cognitive, the social, and the physical skills that are being developed. So if you look here, although there are multiple possible healthy outcomes that are likely associated with this intervention, including cognitive outcomes, coordination, self-esteem, parent-child interactions, perhaps one of the most important, I'll come back to that again, health markers, child and adolescent development indicators, efficacy in sports, design elements, overall quality of life are the main focus of this initial study being conducted as a proof of principle. And that's showing the effects on a child and a family of only maybe 15, 20 minutes of playing with the ball. Now, here is the really even cool part. Soccer Starts at Home has the ability to focus on low income minority groups. These are the groups that are highest at risk for poor achievement in school, a factor that has long reaching consequences into adulthood and carry the highest burden for diseases and are associated with physical inactivity and poor nutrition. For example, urban, low income, Hispanic youth have the highest rates of obesity, followed closely by African American youth. Few programs address this educational and health disparities together. So, addressing these disparities is a priority to both the local and also national levels. So, this is a little bit of a glimpse of what we're doing. Now, I'm going to kind of speed around here and I'm going to show you some other things, like, for example, again, that whole concept of falling in love with the ball. And this is it right here. So, this is a video of one of my boys just messing around with the ball inside the house. Okay, it's that love for the ball. This doesn't fall in the context of a football or soccer team. This falls in the context of families. Okay, and that interaction. And this can be scheduled, unscheduled, and it's one child. It's not one child chasing after a ball with 10 other children. It's that person, that child, and their ball. So here again, It's that ball mastery. And when a child can master anything, let alone a ball at their feet from a very young age, that's self empowerment, that's self belief, that's self esteem, that's self
Man, your feet have
confidence.
gone pretty
And
quick.
anytime a child can yell out to their mother and father, or whoever, grandfather, grandmother, or whoever the primary caretaker is, hey, look, mommy, daddy, I did it, that's powerful. And they can take that self belief into a math test or a science test. And everything that we're doing, I'll show you here. And these aren't the words of mine. This is from Dr. Rady, right? This appears in our book. So the learning process for the brain does not exist in isolation. So the benefits and stimulating effect of learning football, excuse me, using our methods carry over into other fields such as academic studies or learning the piano. So to repeat, one benefits the other. It's learning. So once a child learns focused attention or how to pay attention, they turn the learning switch on. They can turn that on and off at any time, and that spills in. So football is the tool. Football is the tool for basically developing these skills. And
Mhm.
as we know now through research as well, a child, if they don't get a head start in education, especially children who are at high risk of poor achievement, these kids basically, if they enter into a kindergarten and they have basically no basics head start skills like counting, numeracy, ABCs, vocabulary, colors, those children, here's the statistics, those kids are 20% more likely to drop out of school. They're 40% more likely to become a teen parent, and they're 60% more likely to never go to university.
Hmm.
So those are huge, staggering, alarming figures. Here's another one, and I correlate it. A lot of people don't do this correlating, but we do a lot of correlation. In America, 38.5% of American children who play soccer quit by the age of 7, and another 50% quit by the age of 10. These are numbers and statistics from the Aspen Institute of Sport. And I tell people I have a pretty good idea. It's not the good kids that are quitting. It's the kids that don't develop. It's not that kids are any less capable of other kids. Those kids' development lagged behind some of the other kids. And if you look at it in education as well, if you look at kids that excel academically, you're usually going to find a culture at home that values education. So that's what we're correlating and that we're finding, right? And what are cognitive skills, whether remembering, they're thinking, decision making, what are emotions? Well, lots of different emotions, right? You could have on the left hand side, I'd much rather have a child that's a happy, joyful, excited, fun, exhilarating, proud, interested, inspired, and satisfied, calm kid than the nervous, mad, upset, worried, confused, sad, angry, frustrated, sadness, or embarrassed kid. So these can become personality traits. So that's why it's important for parents to understand what their role in development is. So again, like I said, I've got tons and tons of slides here. I'm just going to kind of go through some more. I want to show you um, some other kind of outcomes. This is a little girl whose father came to me when she was about 5 years or 4 or 5 years old. Her name is Jocelyn, and watch what happens here in the house.
English Tom. Oh,
So when you watch, this is Jocelyn now. If we fast forward, okay, a couple years later, this is Jocelyn on the left again. This
right.
level of ball control is off the charts.
Hmm.
This is a very, very difficult movement of transferring the ball from the right foot to the left like this so quickly. Now you'll see here how on the left, this isolated practice, okay, how that transfers into playing in a game. And you'll see now Jocelyn here, number 26 with the ball. Well, let's see how she gets around the player. Okay. I can show you a couple more. Here's one. This is a little boy named Aiden. Okay. This is him at age 3. His dad started working with him when he was, dad and his mother, both of them, when he was 2 or 3 years old. Now, this is deep learning disguised as playtime. Okay. So, again, just imagine if the father or the mother is not present, this boy is likely not to be doing this practice whatsoever.
Mm.
So all of our focus is around trying to engage with parents so that they understand what their role is. How can they get their kids to basically focus that attention? Now, let's see Aiden now on the right hand side when he's 5. And remember, it doesn't belong on the team yet.
Mm.
And what you can see there is that this is a commitment by a family. This is a commitment where the father or the mother or whoever is taking time aside from their busy schedule. They're practicing with their kids. They're videoing their kids. They're editing the video. They're putting music to it. So this is a commitment. So what we try to do is we try to inspire parents, moms and dads, by giving them this knowledge to engage in a meaningful way with their kids. And all these kids that I'm showing you right now, Coach Roy, ready
Yes.
for this? All of these kids now, fast forward, all of them are A students. All of them excel academically. So we see a correlation, and that's the reason why some of the universities are basically interested in studying our program, because they're seeing the cognitive, the academic, the social, the emotional. So this right here, this is just to show you a little bit of my work in China.
Yes.
In China here, we have, actually, this is wrong. There's not 100 million. There's 120 million children under the age of 6 in China.
Oh.
120 million. So I worked with the Ministry of Education as their technical advisor consultant for 2 years. And I put some pilot programs in place, and I was responsible for developing their technical curriculum for 50,000 schools in China. Okay. Work with some of the professional clubs there as well. There's a whole ecosystem out there. It's not just the football world kind of wants us to believe that development in the traditional sense is only a coach and a player. Well, it's much, much more than that. And if you can get a big professional club behind your movement, then that supercharges it. So we work, this is me actually having a meeting at the Tokyo Bureau of Education, laying down our program, putting it into the schools. Okay. This is a pilot program at an elementary school. These are little 6 and 7 year olds. Okay. You can see the very big boy right here. Now he believes in his own mind he's a football player, so that's well-being. He's able to participate with his peers and his classmates, so that's self-esteem. That's building his self-confidence. Then we go around and we're educating physical education teachers, okay, about the importance of ball mastery. This is what happens when you give little children a big ball. They constantly bending over to pick the ball up. You'll see here. Watch the boy on the right here. Ball gets away. Boom, picks it up. Look in the middle. Boom, picks it up. On the left-hand side, boom, picks the ball up. Picks it. So the first thing I did was I got rid of all the big balls in the pilot program, and we replaced them with little balls.